Welcome to this week's edition to our favorite show, Reverse Mortgage Weekly. My name is Zach Smith. I'm a licensed mortgage broker here in Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas, and we're here to talk about the reverse mortgage program, everything people like about it, everything people don't like about it, and we'll cover as much information as we can in the next 30 minutes as possible. So I thought I would start off this week with our pre-retirement buckets. It's hard to talk about the reverse mortgage product if we're not talking about retirement. These programs are sponsored by the government. They are governed by HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. They are an FHA loan, so it's not specifically government sponsored, but it is under the government umbrella in regards to loan programs. So they are available for people who are 62 and better. So you do have to be in retirement age to qualify for a reverse mortgage. So it is really hard to talk about this program if we're not talking about retirement, because that's really what we're talking about in regards to the reverse mortgage product and it being such a great tool for people to use in retirement. So these are three buckets here, as you can see on the screen. And let me change my camera view here. Maybe you can see them a little bit better there. And so basically, you have three buckets here. You have your income, which is your red bucket. You've got your assets, or your 401k, which is your yellow bucket. And then you've got your green bucket, which is your home equity. So pre-retirement, so prior to retirement, a lot of what folks are doing is they're taking the income they're making income from their job and they're depositing that into the yellow bucket. They're saving up. They have their 401k, they have their retirement accounts, things like that. So they're working and putting funds into the yellow bucket so that they can make sure that they save for an efficient retirement. And then they're also putting income, or they're paying off their mortgage as well. So we have people who are making income. They're putting money into their 401k and savings. And then they're also paying off their home with the income that they're making. Now, this is your pre-retirement three buckets. Well, something changes significantly once you retire. These buckets look differently. So this is an example of the post-retirement buckets. And as you can see, there are some changes to these buckets. Now, this isn't the same situation for everybody. Everybody's situation is different. But for most people, this is the change that happens in the post-retirement. Let's see here. So you have your income, and that gets put into, that becomes a smaller bucket because of the a lot of times in retirement, we have a fixed income that we're working with. And then you have your savings becomes very important, mainly because we don't know how long we're going to need our savings in retirement. So basically, you could live to 70, you could live to 80, you could live to 90, you could live to 100. It's really hard to say how long we're going to live, so we don't know how long we're going to need those funds. And then you have the third bucket there, the home equity bucket, that usually you've paid off your home over the years, or you have a significant amount of equity over the years. And that basically is just idle. It's just kind of sitting there in most cases. So basically, what becomes very important is this middle bucket. Now, that's why we put it in the throne there, because your life savings is, you need it to, last the rest of your life. So it becomes vitally important at that point. So basically, the idea is that your home equity is kind of there, but it's not really doing much for you. Home equity is great to have, but in retirement, it really doesn't do much for you, because it's a lot like having a glass coffee table full of cash that you can't get to. So it's one of those things that, you're sitting on your couch watching your favorite show, and You got a glass coffee table there full of cash. Oh, wow, look at all that equity. But to access it, you either got to sell the property, which begs to ask the question, where are you going to go? Rents are very high. You could move in with family, nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times people want to age in place, and the reverse mortgage is really a great program for people who want to age in place. If you're planning on moving from your residence in the next few years, it's probably not a great option for you. So that's just something to keep in mind. So basically, what the reverse mortgage does is it gives people access to this green bucket when they need it. Again, it's like that glass coffee table sitting right there in the middle of your living room, full of cash that you can't get to. Well, what the reverse mortgage will do is it will basically install a little drawer. You take cash out when you need it. And if you don't need it, you can just let it sit there. So that's the flexibility that people really like about the reverse mortgage is the line of credit. If you need the money, take it, but if not, you don't need to. One of the other misconceptions about this program, and one of the big things that people talk about this program, is that it's negatively amortizing. What does that mean? That means that the balance on the loan will grow over time. But one thing that's not said and not talked about enough in regards to that is that that is really a voluntary choice. For instance, if you want to treat the reverse mortgage just like any other loan, you can make a monthly payment. There is a monthly payment on the reverse mortgage. It's just that it's optional. Most people choose not to make that monthly payment because they need cash flow, because this first bucket, the income bucket, has shrunk. They're on fixed incomes now. They're not working as much as they did in their younger years. So they're on Social Security, pensions, whatever the case is. Maybe they're working just part-time instead of full-time. But that bucket gets smaller, so people choose not to make that monthly payment. And what a great choice in your senior years to not have to make a housing payment. I would venture to guess that most people watching this video, myself, most people watching this video, I would venture to guess that housing is one of the highest costs that you pay each month. So with that being said, if you can eliminate that cost, or not so much eliminate it, but choose to forego that, put it into your equity and have your house pay for that housing cost, my gosh, what a huge difference that would make. For instance, we've had clients in the past that, they have, I've gotten a call from one of my clients' daughters. She calls me up and says, hey, I wondered to see if you could look in my father's situation. And she was calling not so much for her father, but for herself. Her father was making about $1,800 with Social Security. He had a $1,500 mortgage payment. So she was having to supplement her income every single month so that he could make his mortgage payment. Well, we set up a reverse mortgage for him and put his payment in as an optional payment, and that freed up about $1,200 per month for her. So now, instead of her having to supplement her income to help her father, he's actually able to make it now because he was able to do a reverse mortgage and convert that into a payment optional program. Again, you can go upside down with a reverse mortgage. It's not very common because it's a very slow process, but you can go upside down. And in that instance, it really is a choice because you can treat this just like any other loan, just like a normal mortgage. So again, we have our pre-retirement buckets and we have our post-retirement buckets. I'm actually going to, I'm actually going to cut the live stream a little bit short right now. I have an urgent matter that I have to get to today, but we went over those items. So if you have any questions for me, you can always call me at 720-502-3278, or you can reach us at happyhousetoday.com. That's happyhousetoday.com, happyhousetoday.com. I hope all is well, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.